Hello YouTube, this is Dark Eyes back here with a deck profile of my Blue Eyes White Dragon. First we'll start with the extra deck, and yeah. First I'm using the Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon. Just got this card yesterday. It is a really good card because you can do multiple combos. Yeah. And then I'm running two Azorius Silver Dragon. Those are the ones that help you out with combos. Let's go so bad. Then I'm running a Blue Eyes Twin Burst Dragon. Most of the Blue Eyes decks I've seen, they've never ran this card here. But I think it's like a major use in this deck here for me. Because it can do 2 attacks, and you can just special summon it on like your first turn with the Blue Eyes. With different combos I'll go through at the end of the deck profile. Next is the Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon. It's a blue. I'm running it because there's the Blue Eyes Shining Dragon right somewhere in this. So I'll grab it out here in a sec. There it is. The Blue Eyes Shining Dragon, which you need the Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon on the field to summon, and he gains 300 attack for every Dragon type monster in the graveyard. And increase the attack of this card by 300 points for every Dragon type monster in the graveyard. And it can have the effect of spell, trap, and monster cards that designate this target. This card. So that's one reason why I run the Blue Eyes Shining Dragon. Or the Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon. Next is the First of the Dragons. This card is really good for it. It's because there's multiple normal type monsters in the Blue Eyes deck. Like, for instance, the 3 Blue Eyes White Dragon. And others. I'm running the First of the Dragons because first, it cannot be destroyed it cannot be destroyed by battle other than by a normal type monster. And it can also not, and it's unaffected by other monsters' effects. So that's one reason why I'm running the First of the Dragon. Now let's get into the monsters that you guys know of already. Let me pull that out. I'm running the Blue Eyes Shining Dragon. One Blue Eyes Shining Dragon because I had to Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon, but I traded one of them for a Stardust Dragon. I'm running a Blue Eyes Shining Dragon for its effect mainly because it can be a tank and it can deal so much damage. Next, we're running the main 3 Blue Eyes White Dragons. And I have more Blue Eyes. I just like running with these types because I don't really know. Okay. And these are like the main. You need to have these 3. You have to have Blue Eyes in order for a Blue Eyes deck because it's mandatory. Next is I'll run 1 stage without a blue for now. I haven't been able to find any others, but it is a really good card. When this card, if you guys don't know the effect, it is, hang on. When this card is normal summon, you can add 1 level 1 light tuner monster from your deck to your hand, except a sage without a blue. You can discard this card, then target 1 effect monster you control, send it to the graveyard, and if you do, special summon a Blue Eyes monster from your deck. You can only use the effect of Sage without a blue once per turn. It's a really handy card. I know that most people don't run with the 3 main. I run 3 main without a blue. I know most people don't run them, but I figured they are a basic, like going back to the basic ones. That's one of the newer main without a blue. Because this is the one with the effect. I'm running the 3 maidens because they can get a Blue Eyes out from the hand deck or the graveyard, and they can be a protection, like a defense protection. Whenever it's attacked, you can instantly summon a Blue Eyes. Next, I run 2 Master 1000 Blues. Master 1000 Blue. I figured that 2 is a good amount for this deck here because, and it's a 40 card deck, 41 card deck. I figured out that the Master without the blue is a good card to have in the deck because you can just shuffle it from your graveyard to your deck. Basically, every time it's in the graveyard, and sending an effect monster to the graveyard, you can summon a blue-eyes white dragon from the blue-eyes monster from the graveyard to the field. And if you have the master with a blue on the field and the protector, or wait, I had that backwards. Next are on two protectors and protector without the blue. They are a really good card because you can do. I've found two combos in the deck that you can get two blue eyes out on the field almost instantly, or one blue eyes. Yeah. I run the protectors because you can send if you have a blue eyes in your hand and you can't summon it. Yeah, and you have an effect monster on the field, including the protector. You can activate the protector's ability by sending, let's say, a master to the graveyard to summon the sorry, just moving my spells out of the way. By its effect, which then summon a blue-eyes white dragon from your hand, a blue-eyes monster, and then you can activate Master's ability if you have a blue-eyes in your graveyard to summon a blue-eyes to the field. And then that then means you have two blue-eyes on the field. Activate his effect, summon him to the field. That can be on your first turn. So I've done that before against my cousin. That is a really good card to play with. It's a really nice combo. I'm running one, the Whitestone of Legend Ancients, because I think you only really. I would run two or three, but at first I only have one right now, and also. You really only have to run one, because it's not really that bad of a card, or that good of a card, in my opinion. Next, I'm running one Dragon Spirit of Lot. I would run two, but I only have one right now. And, yeah. Next is my two Blue Eyes alternatives. I would run three, but I've only been able to find people with two right now. And alternatives are a real need for this deck here. This is like, you have to have this card in the deck. Because, like, his effect is if you have a blue eyes on the field, or a blue eyes, if you have one blue eyes in your hand, you can activate the alternatives effect, showing your opponent a blue eyes white dragon, summons the protector without the, alternative blue eyes alternative white dragon, to the field. And then there's one blue eyes, and its effect can also destroy one monster on your opponent's side of the field once per turn. But the downside is it cannot attack the turn it activates the effect. But you'd have one 3,500 defense monster on the field, a 3,000 attack 2,500 defense monster on the field to protect you, and it's basically a really fun card to troll your opponent with. Next are my spells. I'm running one Mausoleum of Lot. I would suggest running two if you're at most. But like, I've been able to draw one pretty quickly. All I need is my first turn or within 5 to 10 turns sometimes. And so yeah. And it's a really good card to activate combos with. Next is I'm running the Luminous Spark because all light monsters gain 500 points, increase their attack by 500, and decrease their defense by 400. But, like, let's say you have the Blue Eyes Twin Burst Dragon or another card on the field that's a light attribute. It raises it to 3,500, which then can deal up to 7,000 damage if you could attack your opponent directly with this card, with its effect as a field spell. Next is one Melody of Awakening Dragon. I found that one Melody of Awakening Dragon is good enough because you could pull out a combo that can, like, destroy your opponent quickly with this card. So, yeah. Because you can either two Blue Eyes alternative, and a Blue Eyes, two Blue Eyes alternatives, Blue Eyes Shining, and a Blue Eyes alternative. You can add all sorts of combos with any monster that's a Dragon-type monster with 3,000 more attack and 2,500 less defense. And you can target up to two of them. Next is running 3 Burst Stream of Destructions. This is a fun card to use if your opponent has like a strong monster on the field. And you have a Blue Eyes alternative and a Blue Eyes in your hand. Activate Blue Eyes alternative's ability. Blue Eyes gets to the field. Alternative. It acts as a Blue Eyes and Burst Stream Destruction activated, destroying their whole field. It's a fun card to use. It's actually hilarious to watch an opponent do that. I've done it to my cousin multiple times, and then I'm running 2 trade-ins. I would run 2 more. Like, I would run 3, but I kind of can't find my 3rd one right now. Or a 3rd one. So yeah. I run 2 trade-ins because they're really fun to use. Because it lets you draw 2 cards, but you have to send a level 8 higher a level 8 monster to the graveyard. Next, I'm running only 1 Beacon of Light. I figured out that 1 Beacon of Light is good enough because if you run like 2 or 3 and you only have 3 Blue Eyes in your graveyard, Blue Eyes monsters in your graveyard, then it's really useless. Because Beacon of Light only brings you back a Blue Eyes monster from the graveyard to the field, not all 3 of them. But Beacon of Light is still a powerful card to use. I run 2 polymerizations because 3 is a little too much for me because I only have 3 fusion monsters. The Twin Burst, Burst of the Dragons, and then the Ultimate Dragon. I'm only running 2 of them because first, the Twin Burst Dragons, I can just summon that card without having a polymerization, and polymerizations are like meh. Whenever like it comes to like a Blue Eyes deck most of the way. Because most of the Blue Eyes cards you can just special summon. I run 1 Gold Sarcophagus. I say only running 1 or 2. I run 1 because you'll draw 2. You'd be able to get like a Mausoleum of Y, a Maiden, Sage Without a Blue Eyes card, or any card out of the deck and ban it just till your second standby phase. But I've only chose to do that card for now. I've only chose to run 1 because this is a 40-41 card deck, and I think it's a little too much to have 2 Gold Sarcophagus or 3. So that's why I run 1. Next is a Mystical Space Typhoon, or an MST. And that is a pretty basic card, so I won't go through that. I run 1 Enemy Controller, because can't really find any other cards that go in this deck right now. Plus, it's a good card to like negate attacks, or if you want to take control of one of your opponent's monsters to sacrifice him. Enemy Controller is a really good card. Where Arthal, this is one of the new like Blue Eyes support cards, along with the other monsters and spells that are in this deck. But Where Arthal is a good card because if you haven't summoned yet, or if you have the Mausoleum of White on the field, summon like a Maiden or a Sage, or not Sage, a Maiden or something, then activate Where Arthal. Then, because you control face-up level 1 monster, you can add one monster from your deck to your hand. But if you don't summon it, you take 1,000. You take 2,000 damage if you do not normal summon the added monster or a card with the same name after activating this card. So it's also a downfall to that, to using the Wire Off Now. And now onto the traps. I run the Fusion Reserve because that helps me get like to summon any of my 3 fusion monsters, like to get like a Blue Eyes in my hand for them and a polymerization out of the graveyard. to have the Fusion Reserve activated for me, and then the Jar of Averies. I run the Jar of Averies because you can target any 5 cards out of your graveyard, except for this card, and then shuffle it, all 5 of them into the deck. Then you draw 1 card, and yeah, it's basically like to reshuffle your deck. Shadow Spell, that's pretty basic. Your opponent can attack or change battle position. Mirror Force, this is pretty basic. Most people have that card now. Champion's Vigilance. If you control level 7 higher normal monster, and your opponent normal summons or spell trap card is activated, you can negate it and destroy it. Negate attack, pretty basic. It says it in its name, it negates an attack. And then it's the battle phase, Magic Cylinder. Pretty basic, redirects attacks. I run my Castle of Dragon Souls. It's a continuous trap card, and it you ban 1 dragon type monster from your deck or your graveyard, and remove it from play, and then you can target 1 monster on the field, and it gains 700 attack. Next is a Phoenix Chain, pretty basic card to use. Or I should say it's a pretty basic trap card for any of us. It can only target an effect monster. It has to target your opponent's cards, and yeah. Next will come the combo part, and the combos are pretty basic because I went through them in the card and says. But yeah, most of the time I've drawn either Mausoleum or the Luminous Spark instantly, and if you have those two on the field, has either a blue eyes alternative in your hand along with or let's say you had. Hey, let me got it. Or let's say you had these. Let me pull up my better condition. I like that. I like that good condition card. So you had these cards in your hand. So you had the Luminous Spark, the Blue Eyes White Dragon, the Protector. Let's say you had those 5. You could first show Blue Eyes from your hand. Then summon the Blue Eyes alternative, activate Luminous Spark. Then normal summon the Protector. Protector's ability lets you summon a level 1 monster. Activate the Protector's effect, summons the Blue Eyes. Then Blue Eyes alternative, activates the Blue Eyes. Blue Eyes Twin Burst Dragon to the field, and another Blue Eyes White Dragon gets summoned to the field at the same turn, or in the same turn basically. So basically, you'd have that field right now, if you ran like that hand. I was able to get this Blue Eyes White Dragon from the hand by the end of the phase because the White Sword of Ancients effect. It was sent to the graveyard this turn, and you can summon a Blue Eyes White Dragon from your hand, or a Blue Eyes monster from graveyard, add it to your hand. Okay, whatever. And then the Blue Eyes gets out of your hand. And there's a 7,000 damage dealt directly, along with my Protector on the field. So that's basically like a overpowered hand, because that would be the first cards you get on the field. There's more, I just haven't found out the rest of the combos. Plus I went through most of the combos through the decks. And yeah, that's my Blue Eyes deck here. Dark Eyes, like, subscribe, leave a comment on another deck I should create. It may take me 2-3 months, maybe more, to create it, but I will create it. And yeah. Oh yeah, if I did a faction video, would you guys watch it? Or like, subscribe, and then comment if you guys want me to do a faction server or faction video. And Dark Eyes out.